All right, welcome back to the Wild Woody podcast. Today's episode is literally going to be the best episode that I have ever done because I have my best friend Alex. Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Okay, so I have prepared a bunch of questions for us to go through, and I sent them literally to Alex yesterday, and she has printed out like 3 pages. So, yeah, we're just going to get into the questions, and we're both going to answer. Okay.
Yeah, she has to answer them too. I'm not going to be reading off my answers myself.
Okay, first question is, how did we meet, and what was the first impression?
Okay, so this is a kind of a boring question because we met and like nothing happened for like 3 years. We were friends kind of in high school. We knew that each other existed, but not really, until we were forced to work at Starbucks together. And then I was like, okay, she's cool. She has blonde hair and she's tall. And everyone at Harris Teeter, which was the Starbucks we worked at was in Harris Teeter, called me Gabby and Gabby Alex. And I was kind of pissed off because our hair is definitely different. She used to have blonde hair.
We also like look totally different. Yeah. It's literally just that we were the tallest ones that literally every time I go back into that Harris Teeter, you know Christy or Chrissy, she still calls me Alex every single time.
I don't go back in there anymore.
She's like, hey Alex, how are you doing? I'm like, good. I never tell her that I'm not you. I just let it go.
Okay.
Yeah.
First impression.
My first impression, so like Alex said, we were like basically acquaintances in high school. Like I knew you existed, but I never really talked to you, nothing happened until we started working at Starbucks. Oh, I hope you can't hear Bandit. Okay, but yeah, we started working at Starbucks. And I remember at first, like the first day, I think it was me and Mal were working, one of our friends, and like Mal accidentally like spilled some like coffee beans or something, and I know you were like so like oh my gosh, you're doing it wrong. take over or whatever.
I controlled everything.
Yeah, and I remember. Oh, hey,
I was like, this is Starbucks. This is my Starbucks. Don't wreck it.
Yeah, Alex was like, she still is a perfectionist, and
yeah,
so
really bad.
We were Bandit. Hey, come here, dingus, come here, and so I just remember Alex being at first like. I thought she was annoying because I was like, oh my gosh, this girl, like, she's always on me about getting everything right. Like, I forgot one thing, and now my whole day's getting demolished by this girl. And then I kind of just realized I needed to, like, just let you do your thing. And then we became besties.
Well, yeah, I have issues. People need to prove themselves to me before I can trust them. Yeah, when I got to the point of trusting you, I was like, do whatever you want. You're fine. Now I know you can do it.
Yeah, you're like.
It scared me at the beginning.
Now that I know that you can do your job, I'll let you do it without hovering.
I remember being so mad because Mao threw ice in the trash can. And I was like, the sink is right next to it. Throw it in the sink. And I was like, I don't know how to deal with this anymore. I didn't want to be controlling, but I was like, please don't do that again.
You're like, I don't want to be controlling, but if you ever do that again, I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
No,
I took it so seriously. I was like, no.
It was literally so good. It was so fun. Like, once we got past that part of, like, I was like, oh, okay, I actually like Alex because I don't have to worry about, like, things getting done. I know they're going to get done. Then it was enjoyable, and then we actually became like besties.
It took a sec though, yeah, because of me.
It was probably like a month until I was like, oh wait, Bandit, get out of here.
She was very kind to me, and she was nice to me when I was at my meanest points, and I was going through a lot, and I was mean. And,
you weren't not mean. You were just very,
Don't throw it in the freaking trash can.
You just didn't want your ice thrown away, okay?
Yes, don't throw my ice.
Bandit.
No, but people like working at Starbucks, people be like, I want 3 ice cubes in my latte, and I'd be like, okay, I'll get you your 3 ice cubes, and I'll count them out, and they'll be like, no, I want 4. No, I want 4, and I'm like, okay, I'll put a 4th one in there, and then I give them their, and they're like, it's too hot.
No, they would be like, it's too cold now. Like, why'd you put ice in my drink? They're like, you literally told me to put ice in your drink.
I learned a lot about customer service.
Our favorite memory together. Should I go first? We go back and forth with who goes
You go first, yeah.
Okay. First. My favorite memory is I went to visit Alex last
August.
May?
Oh, May.
No, it was August.
It was
August. I was like, sorry. Last August, and you can actually go watch the vlog. And but my favorite memory is we were meeting at the Washington Monument. And you were telling me, like, Gabby, you gotta hurry up and get here because I got his ticket somehow and we're able to get on it. And I literally sprinted for my car, and from like several blocks to get there because I couldn't find parking. And as soon as we saw each other, we were both like, Alex and Gabby, and we just ran and like hugged each other. It was like the perfect like romantic movie moment, and that's one of my favorite
I'm on here
memories.
before Nick.
Oh
That's
my
why.
gosh.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You are.
It was a good time. I also have one from that week, kind of that weekend. That night, I think it was that night, we went line dancing in Leesburg.
Yes.
And I know it wasn't Leesburg. I don't know where it was. But basically, I didn't know that she could be super like bold and scary. And she was on the floor. She didn't know any of the freaking dances. She didn't know any dance at all. She never been line dancing in her life. And every single song she was on there, even though they were microphoning and telling her, get off the floor if you don't know how to line dance. And she was just standing there and just like doing the movements and like they're so wrong. But she learned them at the end. Every single song she learned them at the end. And she stayed on the floor. And I was like, wow, I'm so proud.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
No, because Alex was telling me, like, afterwards, she was, like, she wasn't sure, like, how it would go. Because some people, we brought one friend who, like, literally did not get out on the floor once he just sat at the bar and drank. And
we did, Matthew.
Yes, yeah. And, so then, but both of us were on the floor, and I literally had this old lady was, like, so this next dance is, like, a little, for the advanced ones, and since you don't know any of the dances, you should probably get off the floor. And I said, well, how am I supposed to learn it if I get off the floor? So then I stayed next to her, and she was so irritated. But I'm surprised that they will literally say in the microphone, like, you need to get off the floor, and we just stayed there even when...
No, she stayed longer than I did. She stayed longer. She was good. I, was really proud and impressed. But let me get a little bit deeper. My actual favorite memory, I was in college for, a semester, and I hadn't seen her in, a semester. And I was kind of dealing with all my classes and feeling isolated from everybody. And I come back home and Gabby makes this whole date thing with me and Mal and I. And we eat Guatemalan food at this place. And we laughed so hard. I've never felt more connected and known and loved by my friends. And that's the day when I realized, hey, Gabby's the type of friend that I can just call up and it'd be the same every single time. We'd be on the same note every time. And that's how it's been for the past 2 or 3 years. I can just call her up and it's okay, I never left you, and I leave her a lot. we're away. We're not working every single day together anymore, so it's kind of sad, but we're here now and we do fun stuff like this.
That night was so good. Oh my gosh, next time Mal's in town we gotta hang out again.
Oh
my gosh,
it was great. And we were laughing over the fact that I was super controlling, and they were just they were pounding me. They were like, "This is what you did." And I was like, "Oh, that's definitely me."
No, okay. The one thing though is that what I like is that you always ask her feedback, and then if we give it because we know that you actually. It's not what do you guys think, but don't hurt my feelings. No, you're literally hurt my feelings if you need to, and then you'll take the feedback and. David, sorry.
You did this. Yeah, I will take. I've gotten better. Yeah, thanks to you guys because you told me where I've been wrong. Yeah.
But you do the same thing for us. You would be literally, why are you doing? So. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. What is a quality that you admire in the other person? And I'll answer it first because you answered last time. I admire your commitment. When you do something, when she does something, she just does it. It's all the way done. There's no question. It's just you're doing it. And also, you're very bold. I already told you about this. And said this, and also she has no care for what anyone else has to say. She does her stuff. It doesn't matter. She's principled. She's stuck on it. It's just I know if she does something that she did it out of her own volition, and she knows that it's right. She knows that it's good, or she knows that it's wrong. But either way, it's something that she believes in, and I really admire that. Especially living where I live now, it's kind of everybody cares, and I'm trying not to care. And you exemplify it, and I can just be okay, I'll follow what she does. I'll try to act like she does, not caring, and just being, good and principled and doing her thing.
Dang. Ugh. That's actually so funny because 2 of the ones that you said, I had the same thing for you. Okay, I was gonna say, you're you said commitment, and I didn't really have a word, but that's basically what it is that bandit. Anyways, I was gonna say, whenever you commit to doing something, you commit to doing it. And you are very good at choosing what you're gonna commit to. You're not I'll just do this thing, but I can't do it well, so I don't really care. You're no, I either do it well or I don't care at all.
I'm black and white, yes.
Yes. And I love that. And then I was also gonna say that you said freaking bold, and I was just gonna say social, but it's kind of like the same thing, that like you'll literally go up and talk to anyone. You can have a conversation with anyone. And Alex will, like, we were walking in DC, and we walked past this place, and I was like, oh, that place looks cool. And it was like a restaurant, and Alex just walks in, and she's like, let's go check it out. We weren't planning to eat, and we didn't eat food. We just walked in the restaurant to see what it looked like inside. And Alex was just like, oh, hey, yeah, we just wanted to see what the inside looked like to the hostess. Or, like, the one time that you were telling me, like, you were at some meeting, and a bunch of people or some, I don't know, some gathering, a bunch of people went up to meet this person who was, like, the president of something, and you went up to him, and you were just like, hi, my name's Alex, I came up to meet you because you look like someone I should talk to.
Oh, I did that.
Yes.
I do that. It makes people feel important. If I just go up to them and they're like, you look like someone I should know. And then they're like, oh, yes, I'm someone that you should know. And then they go on about their life and they're like, this is all the things that I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. Now I've become friends with someone cool because.
Exactly.
Like, you
I
gotta make
love
them feel
that.
special if you want it. Like, you just, people just want to talk about themselves, which is selfish, but here I am talking about myself. So.
No, but I love
just
it.
make people talk about themselves and tell them that they're great. And then.
You're so
Learn
good
so
at, like,
much.
connecting with people, like, instantly, though. It doesn't matter where we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. What's your top most priority? Top priority right now, whatever.
Okay. For me, I would like to say that being, like, a better person would be it, but honestly, it's probably, like, trying to decide what to do with my life, because even though most of you may know I have a cleaning business, I kind of, like, go back and forth of being like, oh my gosh, like, I need to get a plan. I have no plan. My future's gonna fall apart. I need to go to school and go get a career. And then, like, for a while, I'll be like, it's fine. I'll just clean for now, and then I'll figure it out as I go. And I go back and forth. So I kind of feel like I need to, like, go and get a career that I want to stay in for, like, 1,000 years.
But it's hard because Nick is gone, and you got to make decisions, and it's hard when he's gone. You have to make decisions together. So he'll be back soon. But yeah, it's hard when you don't have, like, every single day with him. So
yeah, and, like, it's unpredictable. Like, oh, where are we gonna move? What are we doing? When he's gonna be gone? What type of job can I, like, get where I can, like, still have a decent schedule and not, like, working nights or whatever. So yeah.
Who knows where you guys are gonna go? But that's so exciting. Like, the fact that you can go anywhere just because of his job is, like, awesome, cool.
Yeah,
like,
that is very cool.
Imagine. Can't even imagine. Okay, my top most priority. My car has needed to be inspected for the past 3 months, and last year I got a fine because I drove around with it uninspected, and I got, like, it was like $300-400, and I got a court date and whatever, but I got it fixed. And my car was inspected yesterday, and it needs new tires, new brakes, new windshield wipers. It needs 3 things, and then new brake lights. So, like, 4 things. And it's a lot, and I just want to get it done so it can be off my chest. I'm, like, driving around illegally. I'm not going to get another fine. And yeah, my top priority. After this, I'm going to go get my car.
You know, that's actually so funny because I have to go get my car inspected, like, sometime in May. And I've been stressing about that. I need to make the appointment, and then I'm going to have to go into whatever place to freaking pay it and the registration, and yeah. That's so funny.
Mine's like 4 months overdue right now. It's,
nice.
Anyways, yeah. Okay, next one. You have to answer it. No, wait. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's something you've done that most of the world has not?
When I went to Brazil for 6 weeks for, like, a mission trip. I mean, most people don't go on mission trips anyways, but I went by myself, and I stayed there for 6 weeks, which is a pretty long time, and I wasn't fluent in the language or anything, and yeah, that's something I've done. Most of the world hasn't. How about you?
But she's also basically fluent in it, so
I'm not
she's
basically.
Conversational.
I'm, like, conversational, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. That's one of my things that I wish I would have done. But
still could.
I still could. Yeah, just not. No offense. I don't want to get Portuguese. I want to do something.
Yeah, because Portuguese is good for, like, Brazil, Portugal, and, like, maybe 4 other countries. Whereas if you did, like, Spanish or French or something, you can go everywhere.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, what I've done, I've become scuba certified. Yay! No one else I know is. Yeah, I don't know a lot of people that are scuba certified, and I can't really go with a lot of people except the people that I got certified with. So that's kind of sad. But yeah, I took a lot of classes in college so I could graduate early, and I didn't do anything fun, so I forced myself to take a scuba class so I could do something fun, and then got certified. And also, I have eaten popcorn with chopsticks because
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't use chopsticks very well, and I was like embarrassing myself sitting with Gabby eating Chinese food, and yeah, and so I forced myself to learn every meal for like a week and a half, except the ones I was at work, because I'm not going to be at work using chopsticks because I'm already a child, and yeah, I just every popcorn, every little kernel I ate with chopsticks. It took me an hour and a half to eat a big bowl.
Which is so funny because sometimes I'll eat popcorn with chopsticks anyways. Like if it's buttery. Yeah,
Okay, maybe it's a normal thing, and I'm just.
No, I don't think it's normal. I
Okay.
think it probably is.
We're both just messing up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next one.
What's something everyone should do once in their life?
Okay. So if you believe in something like the Bible or the founding of America, what it was built upon, or literally any religion, any doctrine, anything ever, you should read the foundational documents like the Bible, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, why you exist, why you're here. And so if you have any questions about, why you're here and what you're doing, then a lot of your decisions are based on questions, and that's not good. You should be you should stand on things that are foundational. You can't stand on things that we don't understand. So like, you can't stand on things you don't understand. So that's like wisdom. Yeah. And so I'm not like touting or like tooting my own horn, but like definitely reading the Bible actually like cover to cover and then chronologically really definitely gave me understanding and hope. And same thing with the Constitution and things like that. I was like, wow, this is what we're built upon as Americans. And if you're in another country, I don't know if you want to send this to your Brazilian friends, but know your Brazilian government.
Yeah.
Okay. The end.
No, that was actually so good because I would never have thought to say that, or I don't think anyone else would have said that answer for that question. So that was actually really good.
I actually have another answer that's like light. You should go sit under the stars and just lay there, or sit there, whatever, and see how small you are and how great the world is and big, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
In the fields and the stars. That's like a fun one. The other one was very serious.
Yeah.
Go.
They're both good though.
Thank you.
They're both like spot on.
I thought about this for a while.
Mine was, it kind of ties into my last answer that I think everyone needs to go on a solo trip for something like bigger than themselves, like other than vacation, like a missions trip or something. I think that's so foundational, especially because if you're like at home, like even if you're not religious and you don't go to church, but if you go on like a volunteer trip for like Africa or something, like that will change your whole perspective, your whole life, and probably humble you. And I think like my Brazil trip totally changed my life. So yeah, I think everyone needs to go on a trip, especially like when I see kids that are like super homebodies and like can't function but without like the family. It's good to be tight with your family, but I think it like elevates your independence and makes you better at functioning alone.
I agree. So it's scary when you're in a country and you don't know the language.
Yeah. Well, like for that you have to. It's good if you travel like alone with like maybe not your family, but maybe in like a group, like a volunteer or a mission trip. Yeah, because I go just alone to Brazil and just wandered around, that probably would have been bad. But I stayed with families and stuff. So, but yeah, I also think especially going to a place that you don't know the language, I think learning a language is so important. And I was reading a book, and in the book the main character had for some time, because she didn't understand the language, she had like this language barrier, and the way I felt so at home reading her, like I loved that so much because it reminded me so much of Brazil when like I was learning it on the spot. I love that. That made me feel good inside. Yeah. Okay. Your favorite place to travel and why? Or maybe just like the favorite spot that you've been to.
It's your turn to answer first.
It is?
Brazil. You're gonna say Brazil. No. What are you gonna say?
I would say Brazil, but that's like a little predictable. So Brazil, if we're talking about anywhere in the world, I'm obsessed with Brazil. But if I'll say somewhere in the U.S. My probably favorite spot that I've ever been to was either Capitol Reef, which is a national park in Utah, or when I've gone to Montana, like Whitefish, it's up north. It's like an hour from the Canadian border. I went snowboarding there and saw some friends there. Those were amazing spots. Like one morning, it was like 2 degrees, and me and Nick woke up at like 6 a.m. to walk to like some store to get breakfast, and then sat outside in the cold and just watched the sunrise over the mountains. Oh my gosh, life changing. It was so good.
Oh. That's
Yeah.
cute. You guys, they always wake up and they eat breakfast together. It's so nice. Like, she was like talking to me at 4:45 in the morning. They ate breakfast together before he left. And I was, wow. I was just,
Yeah.
That's
well,
really-
usually it's for like big events, like because not every day I do that, but like for him leaving for like training or something, yeah, I'll wake up at like 4 or 3 a.m. with him to eat breakfast.
it's nice. Wow. Okay, my favorite place I've traveled to is Israel. Yes. I went to Israel, and this was before 10/7. It was in 2022. Basically seeing everything, seeing the place where Jesus walked, seeing Judaism at its finest. Christianity is the fulfillment of Judaism, but Judaism is the roots of my faith and the roots of our faith, and also just the pluralistic culture that's there with Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, the Abrahamic religions, the faiths. It really piqued my interest, and I got interested in American politics and Israeli politics, and changed the entire way I looked at the whole world, because I realized how different religion and politics, or how different religions and politics intertwine, and how much of an impact it has on the rest of society everywhere, and in Israel and in America. So, fun story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Dead Sea is pretty great. If you've ever been to Israel, go to the Dead Sea, because you float on your stomach, or like you just can't touch the ground. It's impossible because it's so salty. It's
Yeah.
so great, and then it also hurts your eyes a lot. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex literally just got done with a program where she spent like the last like what was it, like 4 or 5 months of like
It's
learning all the foundational like documents and whatnot, and learning about how our country, the US, had lots of Christian foundations.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, we went through how exactly the founders were Christian and were not Christian, and how they integrated it into their politics, and we have a lot of questions. We did a lot of questions on how Christianity and politics should intertwine, church and state, or should not. And went through all the different doctrines since the world began, from like Aristotle all the way to now. So it was very interesting, and then a bunch of stuff on just different political worldviews, or about worldviews, political theories like utilitarianism, and a bunch of different things, socialism, communism. It was fun. But yeah, another thing. What is something you think you do well for your age?
I think I answered first.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of going back to the Starbucks thing. Once I'm committed to something, I follow it to the T. There's no going back. And sometimes that punishes myself. I punish myself with stuff because it's irrational at that point to do things that, even if like I plan to do something and it becomes impossible for me to do, but I still do it anyways. And it can hurt me because I can't discern sometimes between when I'm punishing myself and when I'm actually just working hard and doing what I said I would do. So that's a downside and a good thing, I guess, because sometimes life is really hard and you have to keep pushing yourself, but sometimes you're unnecessarily punishing yourself. So I gotta figure it out. Yeah, following rules that aren't necessary is what I do.
Yeah.
You're on. Go ahead.
I think for my age, I'm like, oh my gosh, man, it's eating the cat food.
She doesn't want to answer.
No. I think, I don't know if this is like prideful to say, but I think I'm actually pretty wise for my age.
I agree.
And that I'm especially like, I feel like my friends, not that I have a lot, but I'm usually like the therapist friend, or like the giving advice, or like the voice of reason, and that I'm pretty good at being unbiased. Like I can see both sides, and yeah, I think I'm pretty wise for my age.
I agree. When she calls me and she tells me to do something, I'm just like, sure, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
She makes me see very quickly what needs to be done.
Which is like so funny because I feel like I'm like very logical when it's not like my thoughts. Like if it's not related to like my feelings in my head, like of course for myself, like I'm probably not as well, no. I can make wise decisions knowing like, okay, I need to make money, I need to do X, Y, and Z to be functioning, but then like the small stuff of like, I don't know, being depressed or whatever, that's not, like I make
When your
decisions,
thoughts and
but
feelings connect, it's hard, but you can
Yes.
be logical about other people's thoughts because you don't have to have their feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I'm getting better at like I can emotionally detach and evaluate the situation and then reattach. So yeah.
Okay. Now you get to answer first. When you get to the end of your life, what is something you wish you have done, or wish you would have done, or would have accomplished?
I hope when I get to the end of my life that I hope I feel fulfilled. like, which is like so like general and basic, but I feel like right now, because I struggle so much with feeling fulfilled and expecting it to come from my job or like whatever, and so I hope I feel that I get to the point where I get my fulfillment from the right places, and that that I feel fulfilled too. Not, yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good. So mine is more like abstract. My ultimate goal is to glorify God, right? Everyone's ultimate goal is to become more sanctified with divine, and I'll do that by learning, hopefully, and being able to rightly love my husband and my children and raise them up in the faith. And I know you want the same thing. And I want them to be strong in the faith and independent of me, with strong relationships to each other and to God and to whoever they end up meeting. And also, I want to serve and love my neighbors and work outward from my family to impact my community and then my state and then my nation, and do a lot of things, hopefully, whatever I can do for my nation. And then another thing, I want to learn a language. So you've already done half of that. So she's already married. She learned language. Dang.
No, but okay, actually, I'm stealing one of yours of like loving people well. I hope when I get old, like I'm not some Karen that like anytime I walk into a restaurant, like the waitresses or whatever, like, oh gosh, it's hurt. And like I hope I love people well, and that people like I'm known for my love, which is like part of Christianity. It's at least supposed to be according to the Bible.
The golden rule is
that Christians should be known by their love. But I hope like people, like, it's not just like, oh, like I do the bare minimum to be decent, but that people are like, oh yeah, like she cares a lot, like she's super compassionate and like she loves well or whatever. Yeah. Good. Okay. When were you saved and what got you to that point?
Okay, so when I was saved was in first grade on August 8th in Miss Spivey's class. She put on the board the ABCs of salvation. First, you admit you're a sinner. I had to look these up again because I forgot all the ABCs. Then you believe that Jesus died for you on the cross. And then you confess that Jesus is Lord and you call upon him for your salvation. And I got home from school and I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. I took off my backpack.
Was this a private school or a public school?
Yeah, I went to private school through 8th grade.
Okay.
So, so I ran home, or I didn't run home, but I ran to my room, took off my backpack, and I sat on my bed and I prayed and I did all the things, the ABCs. And, that's what you do. But being saved is a continual thing. People are saved by grace through faith, working itself out in love. And the working itself out in love part is what's done every single day. Like every day you need to choose to accept and receive Jesus' love and his mercy and his sacrifice and live out that. And every day you see new instances of his love and you feel his love deeper and you feel more fulfilled and you feel just more in awe. And every day it's just continual. And so getting me to that point, every time you struggle, every time I've been through a lot, you go to the deepest points of your life when you feel his love the most, and you realize how much you have been saved, because you realize how deep it could be and how bad it could be, and then you realize how deep the salvation is, and it's just really, it's great. Anyways, that's me. You're up.
Okay, I got saved when I was like 18-ish, and I was like Christian, like growing up, like my family said that, but I remember being at a young adult like youth group that Nick was leading, and we broke into small groups, and someone asked me, the question was, are you saved, or something along that line. And I remember sitting there and being like, I literally don't know. And then like I remember not even knowing like this, like I knew who Jesus was. Everyone knows Jesus, but I didn't actually know like the story or the Bible or anything. Like I had never read the Bible in my life, and I was freaking 18 years old, had been calling myself a Christian my whole life because that's what my family did, but I was just like starting to go to church and whatnot. And I was like super depressed at the time. The last several years had been like horrific, and I was like, honestly, I was like spiraling downhill. I was like getting to a pretty like dangerous spot, and I started going to church where I met Nick or whatever, but I started actually like thinking more about like, what do I know about the Bible? Why do I call myself a Christian? And being like convicted with that, I started to legitimately read the Bible and learn who Jesus was and who God was and whatnot. And in like technically in like January of like 21 or 22, I don't remember, I like said you know, I prayed to be saved, but I don't know if I actually believed it. And so, like, I think I just went through the motions because I was like, this is what Christians do, but I don't think I fully understood. And so I probably wouldn't say until like sometime in 2022 that, especially because after that moment, I wasn't like, bandits, cat food. I don't feel like I was. It says if you get saved, like you're a new creation, and that you are like changed and whatnot. And I don't think the first time that I like said the prayer when I kind of half believed, and I was like, yeah, heaven sounds nice, but I don't know if I can actually get there or whatever. I kind of like missed the point, and I wasn't really changed. Whereas in 2022, I feel like I actually changed, and I believed what I said and believed and everything. So
I feel that I didn't really feel changed until it took me. I was 16 or 15. I was 15, right before I actually met you and we actually became friends.
Yeah.
And I got to the lowest point that I've been to, and that's when I realized I am not a new creation. Like, what have I been doing for the past?
Yeah.
Since I've been in first grade, what have I been doing with my life? How have I actually been a new creation?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Like, how am I Christ-like or whatever? And it's like,
and I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned that I've been trying to do works. I've been trying to see how much I could do and show that I loved, but I should just accept the love that I'm given. I don't need to show it and show my works and prove it. I just need to embrace and accept it. And I had to do that because I was at my lowest point where I didn't have any works to show for myself anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it does take that. But I got to see Gabby and this whole time, and I wasn't as close to her until it was like, you were 18 or 19 before I was actually close to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
We worked at Starbucks together for a couple years, and then we weren't actually really good friends before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, her and the story of her and Nick and how she came to the faith with Nick, and it's just very beautiful because I'm just in awe. Like he led youth group, now you're leading youth group, and
yeah.
Wow. It's really pretty, beautiful. Oh,
thanks. Okay. What is your favorite story in the Bible? You can pick a book or you can pick like a specific story.
I had to think about this a lot. I think it's your turn to go first though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, I have like two. I'm in the process of reading through the entire Bible for the first time ever, but even before I started like doing that this year, my two favorite stories are either Matthew, because Matthew is the first book that I ever read completely through when I decided like I was going to be serious and that I'm going to learn who Jesus was and I'm going to give this religious thing a legit try. And so I read through Matthew, and that like changed like everything. And I love Matthew, the book of Matthew, so much. It's so good. And like I always felt like, especially after, if you've seen The Chosen, I haven't watched it all the way through, but like seeing like Matthew and like really understanding that he's the tax collector, that like no one liked him. He was like,
everyone hates him.
Everyone hates him, and that like clicked with me of being like the one that like, because I felt like a lot growing up, everyone thought I was like the angry one, that I was the selfish one and whatnot, and so like I felt like that's how I was perceived. It's like, you don't want to catch Gabby on a bad day or whatever, and we don't want to be around her or whatever. And so I was reading it, I'm like, bro, I'm freaking Matthew. I'm Matthew. And that hit home. And my other one that I'm going to say is a book of Ruth. Even though it's like only 4 chapters or whatever. I love Ruth so much because she literally like trusted and she loved Naomi so much that because she's Naomi's daughter-in-law, and she must have been seeing Naomi for years and how they believe in God or whatever, and she's a Moabite, so she didn't know, and she marries into this family, and once all the men in the family die, and Orpah goes home, and Ruth stays with Naomi, she's like, wherever you go, I go, wherever you die, I will die there too, and there I shall be buried or whatever. First of all, that's freaking beautiful. And also, like, I don't know, the relationship that I think that they must have had for her to be like, I see, like, in your life how this is playing out, and I'm going to follow your God too because of how much I respect you and everything. And then, like, even when Naomi was, like, hopefully you can't hear Ben scratching the door. Even when Naomi was, like, in mourning and filled with grief because of everything, and she was like, call me Mara or Mara or whatever, because because of bitterness. She never she still believed in God. Like, she went through grief, but she wasn't like, oh, like, I don't believe in this God no anymore. She's like, dang it. She's like, oh no, like, God has just like dealt me some bitterness, but she still believed in, so that I like respect that story so much.
Okay, I'm very glad that I didn't choose that one. I was debating that one.
Really? Well, it's such a good one.
Gotta plug The Chosen. Yes, watch Chosen. Though plug it. It's such a good show. It does a very nice job. Even though it was filmed in Utah at the Mormon. The set's Mormon. It's like Mormon set, but some people have like issues with that, and I don't think that's wrong. Like, it's not an issue.
Well,
it was filmed
they would
there.
just be spreading the true gospel to the Mormons then.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So my favorite story is. Specifically, it's very specific. When Daniel was in Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar trained him in his court for 3 years. And basically, because he was trained in the king's court, he was supposed to eat the king's food, which is rich and unclean. And it's not the food that Jews eat. And Daniel is Jewish. His faith means a lot to him. It means a lot to him. And it means so much to him that he would not eat the king's food and wanted to eat just water and vegetables, because those are the foods that they had that were clean. And I don't know exactly what they had during that time, but long story short, he asks to not eat the rich food, doesn't get the nice stuff, and in a while, he was 10 days, he's much stronger than any of the other people that trained in the king's court. And it's a really big deal, because basically the way that Daniel trusted in God and wouldn't give in to denying himself and denying his faith by breaking the law. The way that he did that, and God blessed him for doing that. God blessed him. He was stronger, and he was just more in shape than all the other soldiers, people that were training. And long story short, his strength increased, and he was blessed because he decided and he kept the law, and it's beautiful, and he's rewarded. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Love Daniel.
I love that story.
Yeah, and his friends did it too, so.
Yeah.
They have like 3 names, and yeah, they're Azariah, I forget all the names, they're different, yeah.
Yeah, well, and what's so weird is, like, we remember them by the names that the
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
which were not their actual names.
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to say it because of Babylon, yeah, and because I renamed them, and he renamed Daniel Belteshazzar too, which is like not, it's basically worshiping the God that's not our God.
Yeah.
The Jewish God.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Anyways, next one, the biggest question. What is the biggest thing you've learned from the Bible? Which, that was a hard question for me. So, and I think it was my turn to go first. Dang it. So, I learned, basically my strength and my purpose. I learned what real love looks like, because Jesus has real love. He suffered on the cross. He saved us. And I've learned that love is suffering, and love is sacrifice, and that's a really hard thing for me to grasp. As I've said, I have trouble with sacrificing and knowing the difference between punishing myself and sacrificing for the good of others, or for the good of the community, or whatever I'm doing. Sometimes I confuse sacrifice with punishment. And Jesus was punished for our sins, and he was sacrificed for our sins, and he saved us. So yeah, it's just learning how to discern that. And I use the Bible, and I look at the examples of all the prophets and Daniel and the kings and everyone, and how to do that correctly is the biggest thing I've learned, and I'm currently learning. An example of my suffering is this podcast. I am dying.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing this just for you.
No, it's been so good.
I'm having a good time, but I was like so scared at first.
If any interviewers like go back, like any like people that give you a job interview and then go back and watch this because you have to tell them, I think this is gonna sell it, that you're gonna get the job, because they're gonna see this and be like, she's so well rounded. She's got great personality, good morals. I think, this is gonna sell
job, guys.
Amazing. This is gonna be good for you.
You knew me first before I was big. She's gonna be my big break here.
Yeah. Okay. Biggest thing you've learned from the Bible for me? Okay. I think. The thing that I'm working on, and I'll say the biggest thing that I actually feel like I've learned. The thing that I'm learning right now is basically to be more Christ-like, and that
sanctified, image of God, conform.
Yeah, And so right now I'm like working on the spirits and whatnot and knowing how, just learning how to be a better person basically. But the biggest thing I feel like that I've learned that isn't really something I have to work on is like how intentional God is. Like reading through the Old Testament and like everything, Old Testament or New Testament, like everything is done so intentionally. There's nothing that was missed that like slipped under the radar and just made it through. Like, for example, like the 10 plagues of Israel, or not Israel, of Egypt, and like each one of those plagues refuted or rebuked the Egyptian gods. And then in like First or Second Kings, when the people are worshiping Baal, the god of like weather and fertility and whatnot, and God brings a drought to prove like, oh, like this God doesn't exist, because if he did, why would you be in a drought right now? Or like in freaking Abraham, when Abraham's about to like sacrifice Isaac, and then like the ram appears stuck in the thorn bush, and the ram was stuck with like thorns wrapped about its horns. It says that specifically, and it's like when Jesus was crucified, he had thorns wrapped around his head, just like the ram. And
there are so many little things that are revealed in the New Testament that come from the Old, and it's beautiful seeing the way that they are fulfilled. The New Testament fulfills the Old, and the Old Testament is revealed in the New, and it's just,
it's so like
every time you read it,
you can't even like fathom how like deep and how like layered it is, especially like in a lot of like the things that were unclean or whatever. Like it wasn't just like, oh, God was like, oh, I just decided that this one thing will make you unclean or whatever. It was like genuinely good, like it benefited the people's like actual physical health. Like you don't eat these things because they're more likely to make you sick, or they're gonna have disease, or they're gonna cause these problems, or you don't wear this or do that. And it was like, it wasn't just because, oh, like you need to prove to me that you can earn whatever. That wasn't the point. The point was that like, here are the things that are going to benefit you, that are going to make you as good as you can be right now.
Yeah.
So the intentionality of God, I feel like, is the biggest thing I've learned.
Yeah. Well, it's legit. Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
This was way more fun than I thought it was going to be.
I told you didn't need to stress. That's so chill. That was literally so good. Besides, like, when Bandit knocked over, like, the mic stand earlier, and, like, he was a little much, and now he's been scratching at the door, and he's a little
fine.
sad.
That was fun.
And he literally ate all the cat food.
I'm so honored to be part of the podcast.
I'm so glad. I literally am so excited about this. Okay, well, that's the end. So, thanks for listening, and this will come out on Friday, but I'm going to try and post consistently on Friday, so, okay. Goodbye.
Bye.